Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 27 of the All Drive No Drop podcast. Jacob here, joined by David from Tickle My Pickleball. David, what's going on tonight? How are you doing?
Doing good, man. So my in-laws are in town and they went shopping for us and now we have like a bunch of eggs in the fridge. So I feel really rich right now.
Oh, dude, I just bought, I don't even know how many eggs I bought, but my wife had me go buy eggs. My in-laws were also over this weekend. It sounds like yours still are.
Yeah.
We had a lot of fun. So I have two young kids, they have two young kids, and we were just, when you got a house full of kids and they're playing and, we're having good time catching up, it's a good time. But yeah, those eggs, man, high prices, but we made some thum kim, which is like a pork belly egg stew, really good stuff.
Okay.
What'd you guys make with the eggs?
Oh no, they just got here like with the
Oh,
Costco order. So there's
oh,
36 eggs in there right now. So I
you're
feel
like,
rich.
can you pick a cheaper item? Eggs? No. But yeah, shout out to the fam that came over. I know
Yeah.
they dabble in watching the podcast, so it was a fun time, and we'll be seeing them again shortly as we are going to go to like a little water park type thing over where they live. So just making all the rounds. Time's been flying by this week, dude. This week went by so fast for me. The week and the weekend, like spring's here now. I see some plants growing. I'm excited. I've been outside, I think, twice now to play outside pickleball, which, I mean, you probably have more opportunities than where you're at to play a little bit more. But in Michigan, we don't have too many chances in
Yeah.
February or early March. So I'm excited to be out there. It's just like there's a different feel when you're outside playing. I know some people don't like the wind, but I love it. I mean, I don't love the wind, but I just love being outside, adapting to the elements, and it's
Mm.
just a fun time to be alive.
Yeah, I can play it. I just have chosen not to. I actually
Yeah.
like the last place I played is this new facility in the Northern Virginia area. So it's in Loudon and it's like
Uh,
24/7 facility. And it's basically no front desk or anything. You just get in with an app and it's like self-service. Like you just play on the court and you check out when you're done. So
I
the
mean, that
interesting
sounds pretty
concept.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the other thing too is, before when I started playing the first, year or two, didn't really have the option for indoor facilities.
Mhm.
And now there's so many. I am looking forward to maybe playing a little bit of night pickleball during the summer at these facilities. I haven't had a membership during the summer before, but I could see myself maybe having a membership or just playing more occasionally inside during the summer at night because most of the places don't allow lights here, more of like probably a noise thing,
Yeah,
just
makes
because you
sense.
can't, most of the courts here are pretty close to houses. So most of them close at either 8 o'clock or they close at sunset. So just something that we'll see as we get into the summer here, and there's a ton of
Mhm.
facilities. But yeah, sounds like we were both pretty busy, or you're going to be busier than me now. But we have some good stuff coming up here. We're going to talk about some paddles, of course, the new Gearbox paddles, the GBX2s, or no, GBX, why? No,
GX2.
GX2. Dude, I
Yeah.
get, when you put like letters and numbers in just all letters, and I get confused. GX2. Okay, I keep saying it wrong. So we got the GX2 paddles. We also are going to be giving away a brand new GX2 Integra. You'll have to stick around to find out what you need to do to win that. I'm not just going to give away the goods right away. But yeah, we'll talk about those. We will talk about the Engage innovations, and we will talk about the Gherkin Nightshade, and we'll also talk about some Flikweight updates from David. And then, I mean, I already know what the people really want to hear about. We're going to start things off with What the Pickle. And What the Pickle is sponsored by Enhanced Pickleball, maker of the Dinkmaster Pro. One of the best training tools around, is the only training tool I really use. It's just a nice way to practice your dinks, your hands. It's basically a board. It has two different sides. You can flip it over. It's a little faster on the red side, slower on the blue side. Very portable, easy to do in your basement or in your driveway or your garage. So really great stuff from Enhanced Pickleball. But what the pickle today is, it's a good one. Maybe a spicy pickle. A spicy pickle today. But let's set the stage here. There was an interview with the owner of Proton Sports, Charles. We'll just use first names today. So Charles had an interview on the channel of JJ Pickleball. It's like an hour-long interview. I don't know exactly where they're at. They're in like a, I don't know, like a convention center, a gym or something. Doesn't really matter, I guess. But they were doing an interview. Pretty good interview. As far as like just, technicalities of interviews, good interview. Charles said some interesting things, and I kind of wanted to respond to them. I know there was a clip where he's like, the podcast, I can't wait to hear what the podcast say. So maybe we'll be the first podcast to respond to it. And, there's always the thing, you're like, hey, do I give this person more attention? If, whether it's negative or positive, either way, we're giving him more attention, right? You know what? It doesn't matter. We're a podcast. We love the content, so we're going to do it. I didn't really think too hard about that one. I want to respond. And I know that not everyone will respond, but, David and I, we like to just give our thoughts and raw opinions. And I think that's what the people want anyway. So first, let's get up to the first point. He said, shame on the people that criticize the PPA and the UPA-A. Basically, he seemed to be upset that people are criticizing the PPA and UPA-A because they're trying to further the game. And, he's like, just get on board and get behind them and support what they're doing. I mean, I don't think I've ever just put blind faith and support into an organization or even a person. So to say that we can't criticize an organization that has done a lot of things that people don't agree with and that stuff we don't agree with, I mean, shame on us. I mean, come on. I mean, that's what we're here for. We're here as reviewers. We're here as critics. We're here to spark conversation. Of course, we're going to talk about what the PPA is doing. And I think he said don't criticize Connor Pardo too. I mean, this man singled out a professional pickleball player and was calling her, like washed up with the Jill Braverman scenario that happened. I think this one is like, yeah, I'm going to continue. I'm not looking to just criticize, and I don't think David is. I'll let him respond to this in a second. Well, I'm not looking to just criticize. I'm looking to also, further the game, and I want the best for the pros too, but I'm not going to not criticize or talk about things. That's kind of what we're here for. So, David, what do you think about that first statement from Charles?
Yeah, I mean, like ultimately, like not just us, but like all the viewers and people that are playing and watching, like we just want what's best for the sport and we want what's best going forward. And we can't just put blind faith in someone that's not doing what we think is the right thing. Like they need to respect our opinions as well. Yeah. And like it's not just like the PPA is like the only person getting or the DPA are the only people getting criticism. Like if you look at all these other sports organizations, like people criticize the NFL, they criticize the NBA, like they're established. PPA is not really as established as these other sports. So obviously, yeah, you're going to take a lot more criticism now because you don't have, all the foundations in place. So yeah, I don't think it's not fair to say like, oh, we just need to just get on board and do what they say. That just doesn't really make sense to anyone.
Yeah, that's actually a great point that the other professional sports, like they have tons of critics, right? And they actually do have rule changes almost every year. So obviously those leagues are listening to their critics, which, in that case, it's usually like the team owners, but they are listening to the critics. They are changing over time. PPA changes all the time. So obviously the PPA itself realizes they need to change. So if we can't criticize them, why are they changing their rules all the time? Why are they changing their operations all the time? That was kind of like one of the things where I'm like, it just was really didn't make sense why he'd say that. And I will say too, Charles, if you want to come on the podcast, open invitation, we'll set it up and we'll talk. We might need a moderator for that one. I don't know. It could get heated, but welcome to come on. If you want, open invite. I won't edit anything out. We'll just go straight. That's it. And then the next thing. Okay, this yeah, we'll do it. We'll do it. Okay, so he said that paddles only core crush if they use cheap ass material, and then he goes on to say that 10% of his paddles end up failing. And he does say, and it's not all in like the same sentence. He goes in about talking about delamination and core crushing and saying people are using cheap glue or they're using cheap ass materials. And then he goes on to say it's kind of like a transition to saying that his paddles fail at a 10% rate. Doesn't really mention the cheap ass materials anymore. Says it's more of like a build thing and that it just wasn't assembled correctly. But it's kind of funny to watch the interview where he's talking about paddles being made cheaply, and then he transitions to saying that he has paddles failing at a 10% rate. And I'm just like, well, so your paddles use cheap materials too? I'm not really sure if he saw the connection or not. I was kind of seeing the connection. I did connect some dots. It was like, okay, cheap materials, 10% failure rate. Maybe, but I mean, I can't be one to say. That was a very interesting thing that like he just didn't really seem to grasp that he was saying that his paddles were using cheap materials, but that's kind of what I took out of it. How would you feel about when he transitioned like that?
I mean, I just feel like, does he even know what's inside his paddles is my question. Like, what was so special about the Flamingo that, people have done dissections on the Flamingo. People have taken these paddles apart, and I don't think anyone's said that there's anything special about the Flamingo. Like, from what we understand is it's just a 15 millimeter Gen 3S. Maybe slightly different construction, but I don't think the materials are any different. So if the Gen 3S is core crushing and the Flamingo is also core crushing, same material, right? I mean, I don't see where he's getting, what's so special about the Flamingo right now.
He didn't go into detail about the material. And then the next point that he brought up was that reviewers just aren't doing a good job. And I feel this was kind of the point where like I was like, oh, I guess I'm going to respond then. So he said reviewers just aren't doing a good job. We talk about paddles, core crushing, delaminating, other issues, but we don't test the paddles enough ourselves. He said that we should play with a paddle at least 3 months before we do a review. So, you want to go first on this one?
I mean,
what do you think about that?
If every single reviewer did 3 months on the Flamingo, it would probably core crush at that point. I just don't think it makes sense for him to say that we should test for 3 months. But I do see the point of like, okay, if you do want a full in-depth review, you should be spending a lot of time. But where that 3 months number comes from, that does seem kind of random. I don't know about you, but like, I think a lot of people, like including me, like we like to do first impressions first. And that's just to give people an idea of how the paddle is when we get it. And because a lot of times we're only getting it like a week or 2 weeks in advance. So it's not really like enough time to really do a full review. And I think one of the few times we've gotten a paddle that far in advance was the 11624 with the powers. Unfortunately, not you, but
it's all good. It's all good.
It's like, it's just rare because companies don't really send us those paddles in time. So, and like our viewers are asking our thoughts at launch time. So we can basically just do a review, either a first look, which is what I typically do, or we need to like, if you want us to wait 3 months, I just think that's unrealistic for timelines. Like, is that 3 months of us only hitting that one paddle because there's so many other paddle releases? And for us, we want to be able to help out our viewers and hit all these different paddles. We can't spend 3 months. That's what, 4 paddles a year that we're reviewing and only 4 videos.
That math does check out. Yeah, that's what the first thing I'm like, okay, so if I spend 3 months on a paddle, I can only review 4 paddles a year. And then by the time I review a paddle, the next cycle of paddles is already out. So like, what exactly am I doing? Like I'm reviewing a paddle no one cares about anymore. So that just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense at all. I mean, shows how like out of touch he is of like what is going on with the paddle reviews. I know he was also earlier in the video is like complaining about, oh, I didn't get enough attention. I'd be like, dude, there's a ton of different paddles. I mean, what do you want? There's a ton of different paddles, and some paddles just don't get reviewed, even from big brands. Like, Selkirk didn't get a lot of attention with their 008s. Do you think they were out there crying about it?
Yeah.
I didn't see a single tear shed.
Also,
yeah.
like, wasn't his whole thing like the paddle was gonna like sell itself, which is why I didn't send it to the reviewers? Like, I'm guessing like every company's got like a marketing budget, right? And I assumed that they spent their budget on like advertising instead of sending it to reviewers. And I think like when brands send it to us, it's part of their marketing budget, and they just chose to do it a different way, which is fine with them. Like, if you don't want to send to reviewers and you just want to spend that budget elsewhere, that's completely fine. But then you can't complain that we didn't review it because you didn't spend your budget, giving or letting us test the paddles out, and then we'd have to go out and buy it ourselves when we don't have that time to, frankly.
No, I hear you. Like, and that's not even like that. That's a whole nother thing. Like, I'm not really like, I understand both sides of the argument. Like, I don't really care about that. It's more like you're saying like, okay, test a paddle for 3 months, right? And I'm like, sure, that would be great if we could. But honestly, these days, the pros aren't playing with their paddle for 3 months, and we're not playing with the paddle for 3 months. We just don't have the time because, one, people want to know how like the newest release compares to like all the other new releases. So we have to go hit all of the paddles because that's what people want. No one's looking for an in-depth 3-month review of the same paddle. And that's just for any industry. Like car reviews, they go test drive it for a week. Computer reviews, I'm sure they're not messing around with the computer for 3 months. I don't know what product someone's using for 3 months. Maybe there's some more expensive things or some things that you need to test out over time, and you're using a whole bunch of different products over 3 months, and I could understand that. But it's just not possible to do one paddle for 3 months. Also, from all the reports I've heard, a Flamingo just isn't going to last 3 months.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially, I've had several 5.0 friends that have used Flamingos, and one he went through 3, core crushed it in one session, literally during a tournament, core crushed it in a week, and that was probably like 3 sessions, and then core crushed another one in 2 weeks. So he couldn't even get his Flamingo to go through 3 months because he couldn't even get through 2 weeks. And then, he was having issues getting the return. He said it was taking about 3 weeks to 4 months each time with the warranty, which he did say in the video, come back to us and we'll replace it and make it right. So I do appreciate that. The problem is it just takes so long. And this is kind of something that was similar with the Yolas in the past. The warranty process took a long time. It seems like they've gotten a lot better on that. I try to talk to as many people as I can on how their warranty process goes. Yola's gotten better over time. I was a big critic of theirs in the past, even through my own personal experience, but it seems like they're like pretty on ball with the warranty now. But anyone I've talked to for Proton, it seems like it takes like 2 to 4 weeks, which, I mean, for me, that would be unacceptable. Like, that's just taking too long. And I don't know. That's how I feel about the situation. Not really a big fan of the stuff he said. I disagree with a lot of it, but always happy to debate it if he wants to come on. I just wanted to respond. I mean, any other comments from you on the situation or the interview?
This last thing is like, I don't dislike the Flamingo at all. Like I said when I tried it, I enjoyed it. Like, it's not a bad paddle. It's just, I don't know. I don't think it's as special as he's saying it is, but I don't think it's worth $280, but I still think it's a good product. So I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy it as well. It's a good power paddle. I know a lot of people that like it. So it really doesn't even have for me, it doesn't have anything to do with the paddle itself. It's just more like I disagree with what he was saying. And I'll still review a Proton paddle in the future if you got new stuff coming out. I know you were saying you had new stuff coming out, so feel free to hit me up. We'll see after this, but what can you do? Got to give the people the truth and the facts. I'm not ever going to back down from anything, especially if you're going to, I guess not directly come after me, but, when you say the reviewers out there, blah, 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 the podcast, I'm going to just assume you're talking about me included in David too, so. come back and give you something. Anything else you want to say, or should we move on to the question of the week?
Oh, I think we're doing the what's it? Hot take first, right? And then
did you have a hot take?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I guess
so
I
we're
can
transitioning.
Do it. Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to. We are transitioning from David's hot take of the week to question of the week. And maybe sometimes he'll pop in with a hot take, but for now we're going to do a question of the week instead of a hot take of the week. And this is the giveaway portion. So if you answer the question, we will select a random comment to win a Gearbox GX2 Integra. If you answer this question of the week, David, what's that question of the week?
Oh yeah, and you also have to answer the question correctly.
You have to answer it correctly.
I'm just kidding. All right, so question for you, Jacob, and for the viewers is, so there's a lot of USAP approved paddles, but there's not as many UPA certified paddles. So for those of you out there, what UPA certified paddle would you bring to a tournament? So Jacob, do you have like a few in mind, or just like one off the top of your head right now?
Yeah, so I have a few in mind, I guess. I'll start off with the Yola Pro 4s. Okay. Right now, you can choose from, I guess, the Agassiz or the Perseus. I actually kind of like the Agassi. It seems like not. I think it's more favored towards the Perseus, but I think I would choose the Agassi 14 if I had to pick right now. Okay. I just played the best with that of those four, and I just like the feel, especially so comparing it to the Yola 3S 14 millimeters. It just isn't as hollow and as stiff, and that really helped me because like the 14 millimeters from the 3S line gave me tennis elbow. I didn't like the feel as much, but these 14s from the Pro 4 line feel really good. I like the Agassi because it seems like, for me, I know I've seen like different opinions, but for me, it feels like the sweet spot's a little bit higher on it, and I tend to usually hit more towards that end of the paddle.
Yeah, that's why I like it too.
Yeah, so the Agassi 14 would be my choice from the Pro 4s. And then if I had to pick another one, trying to think, that would definitely be like the one I would put in my bag first. Franklin C45 would be up there too if I felt like I needed the hybrid. I have been on an elongated kick lately just because that's been a lot of the paddles I've been reviewing. So I'd put the Franklin C45 in there. And then I think I'd put maybe like a carbon true foam 2 in there if I needed like a little bit more control. With still maintaining some power, but maybe I'm like, I need that maneuverability and the control of the wide body. So those would be my three, I guess. What were you thinking for the paddle that you would choose for the UPA-A?
Yo, I thought you were gonna say ESQ for your wide body.
Oh, dude, I completely forgot about that. Yeah, I guess I didn't realize I was going shape by shape. Put that in there too.
Because we could take that over. Would you take that over true foam?
Yeah, I probably would. If I would still, so I still like to bring something that isn't as poppy, because I feel like there's like 1 out of every 10 sessions for some reason I'm just like struggling with my control. It really doesn't happen too often. Maybe it's not 1 in 10. It's like, I'm not really sure how to pinpoint why or what's going on, but for some reason like my feel isn't good that day. So I always bring something like a little softer, but yeah, the ESQ 12.7 would be in there. I'm still amazed every time I bring that out to compare it to other paddles, and it's been out for over a year now, I think, right? And no, well, not the ESQ, but like the I guess the Analeigh 12.7. ESQ's probably been out for like 8 months, but yeah, that I still love that paddle. So yeah, I guess if we were to go straight up, it'd be Agassi 14 for elongated, Franklin C45 for the hybrid, and the ESQ 12.7 for the wide body with the carbon true foam thrown in there for a backup.
Okay. Yeah, I'm with you on the ESQ. I think I'd bring that one too. So actually, that's like my one wide body choice. And then if I felt like I was playing really well and drilling a lot, I would go with the Thrive Smoke. I've been liking that one so far.
I honestly forgot that was approved, so that's another good one.
I checked this morning right before this call. I was like, can I say? I was like, oh, nice, it is approved. So,
do they have a pro?
Jill Braverman.
No, but she's not playing PPA.
Oh, well, then I don't know.
I mean, I guess they have a pro. I'm just wondering why they got it UPA-A approved if they don't have a PPA pro.
Oh, yeah, I'm not sure.
Okay, fair enough.
I don't know anyone else, but other ones I like are I do like the Engage Pursuit Pro ones.
Okay.
I don't know if I would bring that though, because I actually like the original Pursuit Pros better, like the flat top shape, not the curved one. Yeah. So that's why I would probably take the Smoke over that, and then other ones I would probably bring a True Foam 3. I think that's my favorite shape out of those. And then honorable mention for me would be the Love Saber. I think but the issue with that is like it kind of needs to break in a bit. Or sorry, not the Saber. I think Saber is the one that's like the elongated one. Archer is the one I was thinking of briefly. But yeah, the Saber is just basically like a Pickleball Apes Pulse, but in like the elongated shape. And then it just like, it'll break in slightly, but then at that point, I don't know if it's still legal. But that's
just an UPA-A approved?
Yeah, I was surprised. It's like not just that one. It's only the Saber shape. So like the Berserker and the Archer aren't approved. So like the curved one and the heavy one.
The Saber, you said? Saber.
Yeah.
All right, let me give that some more time. I'm going to hit the Saber this week a little bit more. They must have a pro. I'm trying to figure out what the point of getting your paddle UPA approved if you don't have a pro, like, and it's not being used.
Because I don't know if you've seen that list, but there's so many like brands on there I've never heard of. I was like, do you even have a pro?
It's not like pocket change. Like you got to pay quite a bit of money to get this approved. So I'm just trying to figure it out. I'm trying to get a little logic here, but okay. Luz Saber, put that on the list. I have an opening for it. All right, you're gonna get in there, Tina. Don't worry.
Have you tried the Cannon, by the way?
No.
Yeah, I got it this weekend, and it's the newest Luz paddle. It's basically a mod, but it goes for $109, and it's actually it's approved.
Is it hit like a mod, you said?
Yeah. This thing is super powerful.
All right.
But it's UPA certified. I don't know. It's not USAP approved, but it's UPA certified.
Is UPA certified?
Yeah, so I was like, you went for that before USAP approval. But considering that thing goes for $109 and it plays like very similar to a mod, I was very shocked.
Interesting. All right. Well, we'll have to go check that out. Okay. All right. So that's your question, everybody. Go answer which paddle you would bring to a UPA tournament right now. You don't have to give us all the shapes like we just did. Just give us one. You can give us all the shapes if you want, though. Happy to hear it.
Yeah, if you give more shapes, it doesn't give you more entries, by the way. It's just one comment.
No, it doesn't.
Entry. Yeah.
One comment per person, please. I mean, you could comment as many times as you want, I guess, but only one comment for the stuff.
By the way, the Huda FIBA Pro Gen 3 is not UPA approved, so please don't comment that.
Yeah. Moving on. Let's talk about your Flikweight experience. You got a little hate on this hot take before about weight in the handle not helping and whatnot, and I've heard some extreme views on the weight in the handle from like all different areas. What's your experience now? Did it make your game better or not?
Yeah, so this was basically supposed to be like the update to the hot take. So the hot take was supposed to be like, I tried it, or like I didn't try it at all before I said it, and now it's like I tried it. So short answer is I still am not a huge fan of these. I would say like for me, I kind of tried it on some different paddles. So I figured it wouldn't be any use on a wide body. So I tried it on like some hybrids, did not like it. I put it on the Carbon 3, and then I still didn't like it here. The only time where I felt like there was some value to it was when I put it on the Agassi, actually, because like we said, like that's a bit more head heavy. And then so I figured like this actually makes sense to put it on there too, because I did want to add more weight to that paddle, but I also wanted to kind of like counterbalance it a bit, because the Agassi at that point when I was adding weight, it was getting too head heavy, even like when I was putting it at the throat. So that was like the one case where I thought the Flikweight actually benefited the paddle. And like the other case I can see is like, if you like to weight up your paddle a lot and just add a lot more weight all over it just to kind of like bump up the sweet spot and the stability. And you wanted to counterbalance that, then that's when the Flikweight would come in handy. But at the same time, I don't think you should be doing that in the first place. And if I'm talking about like, as an average consumer, should you purchase a Flikweight? The short answer for me is going to still be no. Like, I don't think you should be modifying that paddle that much where you would need a Flikweight. And for a paddle without any weight, and if you're just like putting a Flikweight on every paddle, you're really just bringing the balance down. And it doesn't make the paddle any faster. Like, you can dip down faster, yes, when you're doing your flicks, but I personally just don't think it's like necessary. Like, I didn't think it benefited my game at all. And I don't think it would benefit a lot of people's, but I think it's just for the extreme case. Like, I would recommend it only if you know what you're doing with your weight setups and if you just like customization that much. But for the average consumer, I still don't really recommend these.
All right. Yeah, and I think the other important thing to say is you don't need to buy the Flikweight or the slice cap if you really don't, like if you're looking just for the cheapest alternative, you can either put quarters on there and tape them, or you can put just like tungsten or lead tape and then grip over it. That's the cheapest way to get this counterbalancing. And especially if you want to just try it on your own before you start buying these. I think the Flikweights are nice because if you like want it to look better and it's just easier to do, because sometimes I put the weight in the handle and you can feel it a little bit. It doesn't bother me, but I know some people say like it bothers them. So that's another reason to get the Flikweight if you don't like that feel. But if you have never tried it, I just put the weight in the handle so you could try it out. Also, I mean, they can reuse old tungsten or lead because you don't need it to stick. You can just over grip it. So
yeah. I'm not a huge fan of like lowering the balance weight. Personally, I liked it in the long debated paddle to begin with, so just not a big fan of lowering it.
I hear you. I think it does make sense, like for the Agassi and stuff that gets a little bit more head heavy. And I do tend to hit higher on the paddle, and I guess maybe I do like it a little bit head heavier. So maybe that's why I haven't I like it, but I haven't been like, oh, I need to put weight in my handle every time I'm playing with a paddle. Also, that's a lot of work for me to do. I don't even know how many paddles we've been going through lately, but I don't want to have to, I'm already setting it up. I'm putting on the overgrip, putting on some weight. I'm like, man, I spend a lot of time setting up paddles. I need an intern to do that.
My interns don't even do that. They actually ruin my setups. They're just like,
oh, they take it off.
It's a cord now. Yeah. They like put Hesa cores on the paddles, and then they're like, wait, I need to take it off. And they got to spend like 5 minutes taking it off. And then they like mess around all my weight setups. But at least they helped me test the durability. So there's that.
I don't think I've ever had anyone take weight off my paddle when they've asked to try it. I'd actually be a little upset about that. I'd be annoyed.
I let them because they're testing it out. But they usually end up just moving around everywhere.
Yeah, that makes sense. If I'm done reviewing it, then I guess they could take it off. But in the middle of a review, I'm like, don't touch my paddle. don't touch my weight. All right, moving on to the Gearbox GX2 wide body, and I suppose we can talk about any of the other shapes if you'd like. But the wide body, the hyper shape, which is weird. Why do they I should have asked Raphael this. Why do they call the elongated, but then the hybrid and the wide body get their own personal shape names in the hyper and Integra?
No, that's a good question.
I don't. Anyway, I actually like the wide body the most out of the three, so I was pleasantly surprised. And I don't know what I was expecting to like the most. Probably I was expecting like the Integra the most, but the wide body was my favorite, the hyper shape. So I don't know. I don't need all these. I don't need to play with all these. But actually, I ended up putting a 1 gram per inch strip on the top here, probably about 5 inches corner to corner.
Okay, I was just about to ask if you did that.
Yeah, so I like this setup a lot. It does make it a little head heavy, but I thought it could use a little extra power. So it's not bad on its own, the power wise. Let me see. I had the serve speed on this at 55.2. which was just a little bit below the Carbon True Foam 2, or Carbon True Foam Genesis 2, just a little bit below there. So not bad. And this is a 109 swing weight, so a lower swing weight than the Carbon True Foam 2. So you had room for some extra weight. And 109 swing weight was mine at stock, and then 6.52 twist weight or something. No problem with stability or anything. So I'm like, hey, it's stable. Sweet spot's good. All I want was more power. So I'm like, let's try it. And it worked very well. I enjoyed playing with it. I got enough power from that. It felt still very maneuverable. Yeah, I really, really enjoyed playing with this. And then this, if you haven't heard anything about the GX2 series yet, plays very muted. So it's something to get used to. But I enjoyed it. It was good. Hold on. Sorry. Anyway, well, good. Take over for a second, David. I got to get a drink.
Yeah. I actually, so first impressions, I did not like this paddle. I just thought it was just out of the three shapes that I had, this was the one I liked the least. I just thought there was like basically no power to this, and it just wasn't as stable as some of the other wide bodies I was hitting, because I mainly am doing wide body testing this week. And so I was hitting this next to like the 11624 Powers, Yannick Flair Prime X, the True Foam 2. And I just like felt like this was the worst performing one, compared to like the other wide bodies, and even compared to like the other shapes in the GX2 line. But that's why I was going to ask you, like, what's your weight setup on it? Because I did hit this unweighted, and I think it just really needs a power boost, because I think as it is, I just don't really like it. So I was going to do 4 corners. Maybe I'll try doing like adding some to the top as well. So I think I'm going to do like 4 corners and then add some to the top and then see how that goes. But right now, I'm not a huge fan of this. I like the elongated one the best still. But interesting. That's my personal preference.
Okay. Yeah, I guess we had a little bit different experience. I weighted it up pretty fast after the first game. I'm like, yep, I need something. I need to add some juice to this, which is interesting because the elongated does hit pretty hard, and I guess it just goes to show how different, even with the same tech. You know, those have their new SST core 2.0, which is basically just a different configuration of the carbon fiber ribs and foam inside. So, you know, same construction in the hybrid and the elongated. But yeah, I personally like that. I did like the elongated too. The problem is I like the Pro Ultimate Power elongated more than the GX2, and the price. Too. I don't know. Did the prices come out yet? Are we allowed to talk about the price?
I think they did, but I don't think we're allowed to say that or the release.
Okay, never mind. Yeah. We'll find out later about the price. And then the Integra was okay. I still think that the Integra would be better if it was wider. I just feel like for the Integra, the swing weights are so close from the Integra to the elongated.
The stats are so similar.
I'm like, why would I give up the reach? Why would I give up the reach if everything's pretty much the same? I'm just going to go with the elongated. It's not that much more stable. It has less power. It has kind of like the same-ish sweet spot as the elongated, really. I mean, I guess maybe smaller. Now I'm thinking about it, because it's the same width but less length. I don't know. Yeah, I really disagree with Raphael's concept of why he does the Integra shape. I think it should be wider. Or just don't do the hybrid shape if you're not going to make it wider. I don't know. So yeah, the wide body's my favorite of those 3. With that weight setup though, I guess without the weight, it would be the elongated. But yeah, I think 4 corners makes sense too if you don't want to make it as head heavy and don't want to get the swing weight as high as.
Also, is it like kind of more rounded at the corners compared to like other paddles? Like say if we put a J3K here, it seems more rounded. I think that's
I'm
partially
looking at
why I don't like it.
I'm looking at the True Foam right now, and that looks not as rounded. So I would say some wide bodies, it's not. Yeah, I'm looking at the Pegasus. That one definitely isn't as rounded, right? I would say.
I think that's why I don't like this as much either. I feel like the balance isn't at a point where I want it. So I definitely do that weight at the top, because, you know, like the Pegasus has that flare, so it does push it up a bit. And then this kind of reminds me, it's not as extreme, but of the, you know, that Groove and Move In like 13S, that like, it's like getting close to that shape, and I didn't really like that one either. So my view, I don't like this.
I think that people aren't aggressive enough on their weight setups for wide bodies a lot of the time, because I think you usually do need the little extra juice on it. And I think you can just get away with adding more weight, especially to the top. People are always adding weight to the bottom corners or maybe a little up the sides. But for the wide body, I think you can go higher, and it really, really helps deliver more power. So if you haven't tried that on your wide body, go mess around with putting some on the top. And then if you don't like it, come tell me, and whatever, you can yell at me. It's okay. Anything else on those GX2s?
Nothing on those. Are we going to talk about these?
The Gearbox Pro Ultimate. Yeah, I think you could talk about that.
Did you hit this one?
I did not. I didn't have a chance.
Well, basically same thoughts. I like the elongated one better than the wide body one. I think because the shape's so similar, it's just like it's so rounded. And this one I've added weight to already. So I've done 4 corners, and I did do like a little bit at the top, and I might add some more. But I actually think I like the GX2 better than this one, because the feel on this was just like really weird. But yeah, I would take the elongated one over this one even, and I need to calculate again, but for what I last checked, the twist weights weren't that great on this one. Like, I think it was still under 6, but I need to check it again. After hearing your GX2 numbers, I might be off on this one, so I might need to calibrate it again.
Yeah, I didn't do that one, so I'm not sure. One thing I should also mention too, the GX2 for me, they haven't really like broken in that much, I guess. I haven't really felt. It's hard to know because they are so muted. I don't really think you could feel much of a difference unless it got stiffer somehow. But I don't think I've had much more power come out of them, really. Maybe a little bit, but I did have with like the Pro Ultimate Power 14. That one definitely was a little bit more noticeable in the break-in. These GX2s, I haven't noticed anything quite yet, but just figured I'd note that.
Because if they're similar to in tech to like the old like CX14s, like their original ones, I don't think they'll break in. But they did do some changes, so we'll see. I haven't hit them that much, so I can't speak too much on durability.
All right, more next week on those. Should be interesting what people think. Definitely interesting playing such a muted paddle, and those are quiet. I believe those ones are quiet approved. I think it does give you an advantage not being a quieter paddle, and it is noticeably quieter on the court. I don't think people realize how much they use the sound to help them. I feel like it was messing people up when I was playing against them. Not being
got
able
some
to hear
comments on that. Yeah.
So I guess an advantage the paddle has that I don't really know how to quantify, being a lower sound, but it definitely is an advantage for you. So, Engage Pursuit Innovations. So I've really only spent time on the 12.7 millimeter just because that's usually been my preferred choice with these Engage Pursuit Pros paddles. Basically, from what I understand, this is a weighted up Pursuit Pro 1 with some targeted weight in the corners and maybe some other spots. Didn't really get like a full explanation and picture, but I believe probably targeted some weight here. And this is the other side, so trying to go for like a cleaner other side than the target. I was like just kind of like whelmed with this paddle. It was okay. It was it's a fine paddle, but I just wasn't excited to keep playing more with it. And I will get back out there with it. It's all right. The sweet spot's smaller than a thermoform paddle, and it's already at like a high enough swing weight. I think this whole point so it's like 121 or something, I think, from my memory. And it just, so you don't have too much room to play with. So yeah, it's in like, I just don't understand why they called it innovation and they just put like weight in it. And it's the same tech, right? It's not an innovation. Like, people have been doing that now. It's not innovation. So I was a little disappointed in it. I thought you know, like it was going to be something new, something different from them. And I was just like, it's okay. I mean, it's a good paddle, but it's just not, out of all the paddles I've hit recently, it's not standing out. Did you get a chance to hit them yet?
No, mine haven't come yet,
Okay.
but based on like
Okay.
how you're describing it, if it's like the Pro One with weights, isn't that just basically the original Pursuit Pros then? Because the Pro One
I guess.
were just the Pursuit Pros with less weight, and then now and they went back to the Pursuit Pro shape too. So I guess all they did was make a Pursuit Pro, but add perimeter, like a little bit more perimeter weighting at the bottom corners. So that's basically what it sounds like.
I mean, the way you're saying it makes sense. Maybe they didn't see it like that. I don't know.
But when I do get one, I did buy a Gauge MX, so like it's their 12.7 of their original Pursuit Pros. I got that on like one of those blemish sales a while back. So just getting them side by side to see the differences.
All right. Well, we'll wait for your first impressions on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so far it's not bad, but I wasn't impressed, especially at, you know, when we're talking at a 200 price point. I was like, it's okay.
Yeah.
Next up, the Gherkin Nightshade from Gherkin Pickleball. So they have a hybrid and they have an elongated. I think they just call it hybrid and elongated.
Yeah.
So you might have seen these floating around. I think, you know, a lot of people are posting about. They also have a sweet spot trainer paddle called the G Spot Trainer, you know, so everyone was getting a good laugh about that, you know. But here we take things seriously, so I didn't post. Well, okay, I did post about it too. So whatever. But I like this paddle. This is a CFC paddle, carbon fiber, fiberglass, carbon fiber layup, and 10mm cells, which seems to be quite a popular thing lately. And this is thermoform too. But you had like the Thrive Smoke with that, the UnMarked with the 10mm. I think the 10mm cells work well.
Yeah.
For a 14, I enjoyed this paddle.
Yeah.
It plays nice. You know, for a 14 with the fiberglass, not too stiff. You know, like I was surprised the feel was good. And I keep looking at these graphics. I would have liked these graphics if they just removed this writing around the edge. I think it would have been fine.
Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying.
It's just too busy with everything. I mean, some people might like it, but I want this edge. Either remove the middle, keep the edge, or remove the edge and keep the middle. That's my recommendation, and it's a good recommendation. Edge guard, you got the why am I losing the
gradient?
Yeah, the gradient. I think they said they're doing something different. I know we both have edge tape on here, so you can't see it fully. I guess you can kind of see it here, but I don't remember what they were saying. They're going to do like all purple or all blue or something, or some base. I don't know. They're going to change it. It's not going to look like this. Check out their Instagram if you want to know. And then I did probably like a 7-inch strip of 0.5 gram going from here to about right there. It just needs, it's a 112 swing weight, twist weight. I think it was like 6.19 if I remember correctly. And it's not like it's super unstable or the sweet spot's not that great. It's just, it needs a little bit of a power boost. It has great pop, but it just needed a little power boost for me. So put that weight on there, played really well, started getting the power up to I would say with the weight, the power and pop combo, I'll get it onto the verge of that like entry level power paddle. Okay. Like just quite there with the weight setup. Without the weight setup, the power is not quite there. But yeah. And I didn't try the elongated at all. Did you hit the elongated or you hit the hybrid or both?
I had the hybrid because I was doing like hybrid paddle testing last week, but then I did hit the elongated. I obviously I like that one better, so I prefer that shape. But I did less weight on the elongated. I did more on the hybrid. So sort of you just kind of going through it all the way up to the top. And then the elongated was mainly just hitting the bottom corners. A little bit more than I would add on the 16. But I think with all these 14mm paddles, I don't see anyone playing them stock. I just think they really need weight unless you're Georgia Johnson, apparently, who plays the C45 stock, which is very surprising. But anyways,
that's just wild.
Yeah.
I feel like that's incorrect. That's an incorrect move.
But yeah,
But
I
yeah,
really like these. These are good paddles.
yeah,
Like I think
it's
compared
nice.
to the UnMarked, I'd say I like this one better. Like I think that 10 millimeter with the CFC, because they're basically the same thing, except this is 14 millimeters and the Mark is 16 millimeters. Mark's just a bit head heavy and it's a bit denser feeling, but you get it more, just more pop and like a better feel with the 14 millimeter, I think.
So I guess I could talk about the UnMarked real quick too, because I don't think I talked about it last time you talked about it because I hadn't hit it yet. I actually quite enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So I played it stock too, and I didn't feel like it really needed any weight because it was already, I think it was at 121 swing weight.
Yeah,
So
it's
I was
pretty
like, all
high.
right, it's pretty good. Well, not pretty good, but like at a level where I'm like, well, kind of don't want to add weight to it really. And I was getting pretty good power out of it. And I felt like, I think the twist weight was like 6.2 maybe. And I didn't really feel like I needed any weight even in the corners. I was playing really well with it. I was getting pretty good power out of it. And I liked the feel of it with that denser, a little bit of denser soft plush feel. But yeah, I played really. I'll have more thoughts and stuff. I'm gonna do like a kind of like a roundup of like not a ton of releases, but like my top 5 of like the last month.
Okay.
Don't know if it's gonna
That's a
be
good
a new
idea.
series. It's just I was kind of getting like behind, and I was like, I can't do an individual one, so I'm gonna pick my top 5 of the recent releases and do a review on all of them. So
Yeah, that's a good idea.
it's gonna be in there. I'll give you a spoiler alert. I really enjoyed it, which I wasn't. After you were like, it's the worst paddle ever. No, I was like, oh, should I try it? But yeah, I actually enjoyed it a lot. So that will be in there. Hopefully they get approved soon too. I know that's still not approved, so we'll see about that. And then moving on, I haven't hit this one yet, except just a few serves. But the Babolat Baller Plus, they have the full lineup coming back. They've made some tweaks. It's like shiny, right? Like I just felt like I pulled a holographic Charizard or maybe a Blastoise, out of the Pokemon card pack. And yeah, so the graphics are kind of similar, but they're shinier. So they got the Baller Plus, which is their hybrid, the Striker. I don't know if I think that's a plus as well. That's their elongated. And then the Wizard, which is no plus at the end, and that's their wide body. So we'll try those out. I did do a review on their previous ones. I'm not sure exactly what the difference is with these new ones. I'll have to read up on that, but we'll try those out. And then I did get the new Babolat shoe, the Pickleball shoe. I'm excited to try that because right now, I switch between the Jet Mach 3s and the Square shoes. I'm excited to try that since I've been using Babolat shoes for so long, but we'll haven't got a chance to try that yet. They are bright yellow too, so hopefully I get some people complaining about it being the color of the ball.
Yeah,
I love to hear that. I actually had a pair of yellow shorts that I don't even know what happened to them, but they're like bright yellow running shorts, and people would even complain about that. I'm like, really? Like the shorts, I feel like that's not really a problem. I understand the shirts. I've seen that. But
there's one guy in like one of my leagues he used to use one of those like head paddles and it was like bright green. And then like no one would say anything until they started losing in the league matches. They're like, oh yeah, your paddle's distracting me. I was like, you just said that because you just lost to him. But
I've had problems with like the white paddles, like the Selkirk one, Lux's Power Airs. I've had those ones, especially like the white and gold one in the summer with the sun. Those can mess you up, but you don't really see too many white paddles these days. I think maybe UPA has a color rule. I know MLP did, but I don't know if UPA-A does. I guess with all the people that have been switching to the carbon fiber paddles, there's really not many paddles out there besides Selkirk paddles that aren't just black base. So anyway, moving on to got a little talk about socks. So I don't really think too much about socks. I mean, I do like nice socks. I just don't put too much research into them. But I got contacted by a company called Jox Sox. And, it's like, I got to wear these, try them out. And obviously, after you wash socks, it's like, you don't want to bring on some dirty socks. Look how close these things are to my face. Do you think I want to have dirty socks right next to my face? So I got to wash them. So it's been like 2 weeks. So basically, 2 uses of these, like, these are their padded socks. Let me read up the right title here. These are the Jox Sox men's cushioned crew socks. So these are $13 for a pair. And like, socks get pricey for, anytime you're looking for good performance socks. And I think these come in like black, blue, gold, white, gray, but I prefer just black crew socks. These are nice. So it's hard to know like if my feet felt better than like normal socks that I wear, like, some cheap socks, but didn't have any problems with my feet after wearing these, like more than normal. And these are a nice cushion layer. I like these just wearing them to work too. Like they feel really comfortable. Yeah. So yeah, Jox Sox. I was impressed with the cushion ones. They have a compression stuff too. Unfortunately, I'm not really like, it was like too tight for my foot. So the compressions weren't for me. If you really like that tight feel, then that's fine. But yeah, these cushion ones, I love these cushion ones. They also have ones that have like grips. Go ahead.
Okay, that's the one I was thinking about. The one with the grips. I thought those were the cushion ones. So when you held those up, I was like, why did yours like different?
No, these ones just like a thicker bottom layer. But yeah, they have one with grips too. Actually, like those are cool too. Like if you have young kids, sometimes you get them like grippy socks so they don't slip. Maybe you're an adult that slips, and they have ones with like the grips on there. Were you using the grip ones?
Yeah, I'm actually wondering if you actually use those for Pilates, because they make you wear those like grippy socks just so you don't like fall off that machine. But
they do?
Yeah, it's either you go barefoot or you wear like grip socks to like stay on the machine.
Oh,
my wife bought me some. She makes me go sometimes. She likes watching stuff.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. If you like Pilates, it's fine. A lot of the NFL players are doing Pilates these days.
Interesting. But yeah, those actually have this like, I guess it's like the where your ankle is, like, so where it goes up, it's like it's got this like cooling segment. But I don't know if it's just because there's like less material, but like you can actually feel it. Like if I'm walking around the house with like just those socks on, you can actually feel like it feels colder in that area. So I think they're pretty good for like the summer. Like if I go outside, then it'll be like cooling on the ankle when I'm playing. So I didn't wear them as much in the winter because I was like, well, now I just feel cold. But I think now the summer's coming out. I'm looking forward to trying those out more.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. So we'll give some updates on how like those Jox Sox hold up. But so far, I really like the cushion ones. And I think there's another one that I liked too. Wasn't a fan of I think it was the Alpha Pro once.
Sounds like an engaged sock right there. Alpha Pro.
Alpha Pro. More to come on that, but cushion ones by far my favorite so far. Really, really like those. I think that's all the paddles and topics I had. Did you have anything else that I'm missing?
No, I think that was it.
All right, that's it. You know how to enter that giveaway if you're looking to get it. And then obviously, comment whatever questions. It doesn't have to just be about the giveaway. I am interested to hear what people think about the Proton thing. I'm guessing not everyone was, tuned in for that interview. I think there's like, there's a segment of people that like hearing this stuff. Like I like hearing it just because, like I'm making content about it. I know that other people are like, they're probably falling asleep when we interview a paddle owner and they're talking about, he didn't really go into like technology and stuff. He was kind of like, it was a more entertaining interview because he was like, kind of calling people out, getting into it. But yeah, let us know what you think about it. And yeah, we'll see you next week for episode 28. Thank you very much for watching. David, I guess anything else coming up for you this week that you wanted to talk about?
Nope, just doing some wide body testing. So looking forward to adding tape on these paddles finally.
All right, wide body season. Let's go.